about to start. Call me Dr. 25, baby. I'm here to teach you everything you need to learn, lady. Here's a quick way to get an ETA. And you ain't even gotta be the bro today. Me and you up in this room, yeah. Making all types
Good
of
evening, good
sounds that
evening.
you
This is
wouldn't
Gregory
even
saying, Stake
know.
Your Claim with Gregory saying,
My
sitting in for Miss Gina Lamar on the mighty, famous IntellectualRadio.com. And I'm telling you, I don't know where many of you all have been if you don't know about this station right here. But I swear they have over 30 some shows, unbelievable shows. I was sitting here in the studio listening to a show before I came on the air, and I swear I wanted to jump in the conversation because the conversation was so relevant to what time it is and some of the things that are going on when it comes to violence. But that's not what I'm going to talk about today. I'm here to talk about today relationships. But I want to thank, let me go back to Gina Lamar. She's over at Reds. So if you're listening to this and you can't, stay in your car and you want to get out and hang out over on Stony Island, Reds. Gina Lamar is over at Reds. But if you need to go home and you know you're going to get in trouble, then you need to go ahead and tune in to this show right here. And I want to thank the producer. This man does a great job. He handles his business and he's right on point. So today, Gregory Saying is on the air with you here, and we got a live in. You can join this conversation. And hey, I'm gonna give me a little time because I want to talk a few minutes. But it's 708-223-8953. I'm gonna give you that number again, 708-223-8953, if you want to join the conversation. But before you call, let me just tell you what we're gonna talk about. And that is get married over 40, after 40 years of age, get married. And I thought about that. And I was like, that sounds like a boring topic, but then it is. Then again, it really isn't. It's really a relevant topic. And I think you can find love over 40. And there are a lot of reasons now that you might want to think about it. There are a lot of reasons you want to meditate over it. And there's reasons that you really want to do it. It's never too late. It's never too late to find love. I'm going to tell you why I'm saying that today. And it's not because um, I'm trying to propose right now. But I will tell you this, that like many of you all, I've been blessed, and I'm sure many of you all have been blessed that you've met people in your life that really are marriage material. But why did we wait so long? Why did we wait so long? Why haven't some of you all been married up to this point? And I think you should call and talk about that. Why haven't you been married? You 40 years of age, or you 50, you 60, and up until now, you haven't been. And maybe some of them have been, interesting circumstances, and or maybe you just so set in your ways that you cannot find anyone that you feel you want to settle down with, someone that you want to spend the rest of your life with. That makes sense. I mean, it really, really makes a lot of sense that you don't just go and jump the broom. And I think some people that get young, there's advantages in that. I've been married before. I got married when I was 26. 26. And I think that marriage, I've only been married once. Let me just say this before I say I think that marriage, my only marriage was when I was 26, and it lasted, I think, about 15 years. I'm very thankful. Let me thank her publicly. She's probably not listening, but I grew from that. I learned from that. And I think in everything that we do that might not go like we want it to go, we can still learn from it. And we have to be thankful that there was a season. There's a reason and a season for everything. So I will be forever thankful for my first wife, the mother of my two children, Amir and Amber. And you could never ever be, you shouldn't be. Now I can't say you couldn't be, because I know some of us, we still mad. We got rocks in our jaws right now because some things leave a bad taste in your mouth. But in this case, maybe we didn't agree on everything and it didn't work out. But when you really focus on what was positive and how you benefited and how you grew, because anytime there's a woman in your life, they might not be all that you want them to be. And maybe they are, and we don't understand it, but you should go back and always thank them and regard them, especially women that have bore children for us. So thank you. But anyway, I got that out. Tomorrow I'll be arguing about child support. No, I'm just kidding. Children of they are they are of age where that's not the case. But we do have a daughter that's graduating this weekend from Ohio State out of that marriage. But why haven't you been married? What is your situation? And then for some people, what's your problem? Are you stubborn? Are you picky? Are you meticulous? Do you think you all of that? Seriously, what is it? Why haven't you been married? And many of you all that go to church, to the mosque, the synagogue, and the cathedral, you're not even married. And I gotta say this. I'm just gonna say it. I know you like sex and you already in the church, you know you don't supposed to be doing it, and you're not married. You know that's a sin, right? I'm not trying to make nobody feel all guilty and everything, but because we all are sinners, I'm just wondering, why haven't you been married? And then some of you in these big mega churches with thousands and thousands of members, and all those men and women in that church, and you telling me that you have not came across anyone worthy of getting married to in the church. Well, you should have got married when you were younger, because now you kind of stuck in your ways, and maybe Deacon Ross ain't good enough for you. Maybe Deacon Ross' car ain't the kind of car you want to pull up in front of your house. And if you that petty, you ain't gonna never be married. No, I'm serious, because you're looking for the wrong things. I mean, when you love someone, you don't worry about the material thing. What you worry about is the quality of that person's heart and the condition of their heart, and just the love and the affection that you feel from them. So I think now in my life, at my age, honestly, I didn't think that I would say this, but I'm going to say it, that I actually recently, where in the last few months, have I've come across a young lady that I think I would marry. I would. Now, there's things that we have to work on. It's like I'm scared of dogs, and she got two big dogs now. I should be telling her business over the air like this, and she probably cracking up saying, "You scary cat, I don't believe you talking about my boxes over the air." Yeah, I'm talking about those boxes because they killers. You train them to be killers. Oh my God. But anyway, but I think that you can come across people today, individuals that really have enough, that are worthy of marriage. Because if you're looking for somebody to be picture perfect, you're going to be alone the rest of your life. The rest of your life. And I mean, there are a lot of things, and I said this earlier, pros and cons about marrying when you're young and about marrying when you're 40 or up. And I would like to know from you, why haven't you been married? I mean, seriously, why haven't you been married? Have you been married? You divorced? Do you want to get married again? Or are you afraid because of the first marriage? But this conversation is for you. It's not for me just to talk to you. It's for you to call in to tell us. And there are many people that are listening. This radio station has a far reach, and many people will hear your comments. Many people will hear your complaints, or many people will hear just how you feel. And I think we can all learn from your decision that you made. Why haven't you been married? 708 223 8953. 708 223 8953. That's intellectualradio.com. And if this is your first time, don't let this be your last time. There's plenty of shows that come on this station. And I'm telling you, I'm talking to the producer right now. And I am thinking about, not thinking about, I am going to have me a show on this radio station. You know, in the next month or so, I plan to have a radio show on here. I won't be talking about marriage because I'm a little more radical. But tonight, it's all about marriage. And I want to hear from you. So, who would be the first caller to come on and open up and tell me why is it that you are still single and not married? 708 223 8953. So you can't say you don't have the phone number. Why aren't you not married? Why? Are you the type of person that you hard to get along with? Is that it? Or do you think you're too good for someone? Because I know for me, you know, a lot of things to look at when it comes to marriage. And you get married to someone and they say, you know, for good and for bad and for rich and for poor and a lot of different things right there. You might end up poor. And they got to stay with you. At least that's what they're supposed to do. Do you think people break that part of the vow? All of a sudden you lose your job and you don't have as much money as you used to have. And then they say for rich and poor and you poor. Or maybe because, you know, some of you all have just forgot the vows. Or maybe because, you know, the divorce rate is so high, you're afraid. Are you afraid because of the divorce rate? Seriously, because it is pretty high. And it's high for a number of reasons. And I want to get to that, but I don't want to focus on that. But are you afraid because of the divorce rate? Seriously. And you just run into so many people that is not working out and they tell you all of the negative stuff and they discourage you. Because I think if marriage was in the air and more people, you know, would come up to you and say, man, I am enjoying my marriage. That's the best decision I ever made. Man, they ask you, how you doing? I'm feeling great. Why? Because I'm married and I'm married to someone that makes me feel good and, you know, life is great and, you know, I'm just happy and I'm thankful to God, you know, all of the positive. Or you run into some people to say, you getting ready to do what? Have you lost your mind? You know how high the divorce rate is? You think it's going to work? I mean, they very pessimistic. They very pessimistic. And so that's very discouraging because those stats, it really is enough to make people, you know, change their mind. It's really enough to make people just play games. But I think marriage, when you say, that's my wife, that's my husband, I think psychologically and even emotionally, I think something comes over us. I think people decide that they want to step up to the plate. And it's really about being consistent and staying at the plate or hitting a home run and being successful. But I think mentally, when you introduce somebody as your wife, it carries more weight than you 40, 50 years old telling me this is my girlfriend. Yo, what? You 50 years old. You know, typically when people 50 and 40, they just say, this is a friend of mine. Because that lady is 40 and 50 years old. She ain't no girl. This is my old lady. What about my wife? My matter of fact, some people even say this is my old lady and they married. I don't think they feel married. But why haven't you been married? Seriously. Why haven't you been married? What is your reason? And it might not be the divorce rate. It might be because you are simply afraid to give. You don't want to give. And those scriptures have, scared you. You've gone to a wedding and you heard the pastor, the preacher, the reverend, the minister, you heard them going into what women's supposed to do, what men's supposed to do. And the minute they said, women, submit to your husband, right away you go, now see, girl, that's the part I don't agree with. Because why I gotta submit to him? Girl, I'm 45. I'm 50 years old. I ain't gonna be submitting to no man. Now we can be a partnership. Well, we a partnership, period. And we should both submit to each other, but more so submit to the truth. And that's really more important than us feeling like, or you feeling like you subservient to me. That ain't what really submit means. Because I don't know no woman that submits 100%. I ain't met a woman. My mama didn't submit 100% to my daddy. They didn't. And to be honest with you, women has always ran the house. Always. Ain't no man run no house. Not one man can tell you. Well, not the ones that I know. Women typically run the house. But submit means really let the man be the man. When there's some trouble and there's some things that a man need to go and work out and figure out, just kind of stand in the background for a minute and let him handle it. We know you got a degree and a master's in the doctrine, and you got your all of your titles and etc. But you lonely. You lonely. You got all those titles, and every night you go to bed by yourself. Yep. Now that ain't really wise. I mean, there are a lot of men out here, and maybe they work for a factory. Maybe they work for the post office. They work for, I don't know, any place that they make a living, an earning to be able to take care of basic things and more than that. And they just don't drive the sharp car that you want. So you marrying for material things? Are you marrying because you want to, uh, honor that institution? Because I think when we speak about marriage, marriage is like intertwining. Marriage is like, they say becoming one. Are you becoming one? Are you becoming one? I mean, I'm just asking a question. That's all. So that's 708-223-8953. Why are you single? Why are you single? You scared to tell me? Are you afraid to talk to the audience of why you single? I mean, I just want to know. We got a call on the line? I really want to hear why you single. Oh, you might not be single. How you doing, Carla?
Caller, this is Caller Carl calling in from the south suburbs of Chicago.
All right, brother Carl, how you feel, sir?
I'm doing pretty good. How's yourself?
Man, it's the same fight, different round. You know, I'm single right now, but you know I have the potential right now. I'm in a good place right now. I've been really blessed. And as the people at the church say, I'm highly favored right now.
Oh, highly favored to be alive.
Oh, yeah, I'm highly favored to be alive. And, you know, hey, let me tell you something. There's nothing, honestly, more exciting and more refreshing and more just positive to be around positive people and to know that you are now in the company of someone that you feel like that you would marry them. You know what I mean?
Oh yes, that's a natural. That's a natural. That's a given.
Well, I didn't always feel that way now, Carl. I'm not gonna sit here and lie to the audience and whoever's listening. Hey, bro, there's been some that I knew right away. I was like, oh boy.
Well, you know, we got to get all the play out of us, you know, in the 20s and 30s, and then once we hit the 40s and 50s, look out. You got to hang up those boots, those Playboy boots and shoes, and get real and get, you know, you just got to settle down.
How long have you been married?
Oh,
if you married?
Too long. Let's see here. About 28 years going on 30.
28 years?
Going on 30 years.
Well, you're an expert, brother. Tell a man who afraid to get married, what do you do to stay married? Because I know things are not always going smooth. And I mean, when they're going good, they're going good. But what do you do to keep your sanity? No, I'm just kidding. But no, what do you do to keep things spicy?
Well, that's true too. That's true. but really just being yourselves, the two, the male and the female, the husband and wife, the spouse, however you want to put it, is just really being yourself, being truthful, honest, being able to build the trust and keep the trust.
But I mean, in terms of coping, when things are not going good, how do you cope?
Oh, well, you really got to get a little laugh from each other. You really got to get your space. You got to have another room to go into. If that don't work, you got to take a walk or a ride.
You say take a what?
That keeps a lot of friction and animosity down when you're not agreeing.
Did you just say take a ride?
Say that again.
Did you just say you got to take a ride?
You got to take a walk or a ride. If you don't have a car, you got to take a walk. If you got a car, you got to take a ride.
You got to do like the line guy, Corey Brooks, who said he walked to California. You know the guy.
yeah, something like that. You got to get out of
That was one of Meek's boys. They say they walked to California. Boy, one day I'm going to come and do a whole show on that lion cat. He ain't walked to the south suburbs. But no, but anyway, that's another topic. But you were saying that you just got to go and be to yourself. That's what you mean pretty much, right?
That's right. I mean, when you need a little air, you got the air out. Give each other some space. You know, give each other time, whatever you need to until you come back around. Don't force it. Don't try to make it right. If it's not, just give it some time and some air and some space until you get it right.
Well, that's good. I mean, that's wise coming from a man that's been married for 28 years, close to 30 years.
What
and I mean, you could actually be considered an expert because you are still married, and a lot of people have walked away. How old were you when you got married, though? What was your age when you got married?
I could write a couple of books. I was 22. I'm 50,
Jesus.
going on 51 now. I'll be 51 this year.
You was 22. You lost your virginity.
Oh, I lost everything. Lost my mind when I got
Don't say you lost everything. That ain't a good Way to put it, you just scared some people from marriage.
That young, I didn't know what I was doing. But in your 20s and your 30s, you're learning, you're growing, you're developing with each other, you're learning each other, what your likes, your dislikes, And what it is, really, you have to learn each other on not just the physical level, but mentally and spiritually and psychologically and morally, financially. You just got to learn each other, likes and dislikes. And if there's more likes, you'll stay together. If there's too many dislikes, then you're going to be fighting it at odds all the time. You ain't going to last.
So what do you think about
ways to bad? You all good. All good.
Well, let me ask you this question. So what do you think about, and then I'm going to take I'm not going to keep you, but what do you think about marrying? I'm sure you have friends and maybe relatives or associates that haven't been married. And what do you recommend to them that are maybe contemplating getting married at 40 and over? Do you think that's a good thing, or do you think otherwise?
Oh, it's a beautiful thing. If in fact you both know and understand, and you know each other, you understand one another, you like each other's ways, you're able to really come together on different issues, and not just learning each other physically or sexually, because that's fast. You can do that you can do that like in days or weeks. You'll know each other physically.
Do you think
get to know each other mentally and spiritually and moral? I mean, on all the other aspects or other levels of life, and you're really in agreement with one another. Oh, it'll work out great.
All right.
40s and 50s is your prime time in life, and that really is a good time to get married and situated and settled down and able to really focus on your
even though y'all headed to be senior citizens,
your best years, your prime years of life. That's your prime years of life.
Yeah, y'all both headed into senior citizen status.
Well, that's really numbers there. But if you're eating good, you're living good, you're working out a little bit here and there, or every other day, or every few days.
That's right.
But really, it's a beautiful thing in the 40s or the 50s, because you're really ready to settle down at that time anyway.
Yeah.
Because in your 20s and 30s, and then right at 40, you're really ready to settle down and live the rest of your life out to the fullest with a mate, with a spouse.
Well, you know what? That's very, very wise, brother. Thank you. Honestly, that right there is enough said in terms of why it's good to do it. And I love what you said about the likes versus the dislikes and etc. And that makes all the difference in the world, because we can agree to disagree, and none of us are perfect, and all of us, could find fault, but we're not looking for fault. We're really looking for the greatness in each and every human being, and accentuating the positive. And that's how, you have approached it, and that's what's coming out of your mouth. And it sounds like that's the kind of condition in your heart. And I appreciate it, brother. So thank you very much, brother.
Absolutely. And foremost and utmost and foremost is putting God first, and being able to relate and communicate with one another truthfully and honestly and straightforward all the time, regardless to what. Just being truthful and straightforward with one another, that keeps a strong bond in a marriage.
Thank you, brother Carl.
You got it.
Yes, sir.
All right, take care now.
Yes, sir. And that's the kind of conversation, and that's the kind of input that really we all can learn from, because it really is about finding the things that you can not just agree on, but there are many things about people that we know we like, that we love, and we should just stay focused on that. Don't worry about the little bitty things that we don't like or we different. you know, in that area. But when we see qualities in people that are really good, I think that's where we need to just stay focused and we'll be okay. 708-223-8953. You listening to IntellectualRadio.com. Again, you're listening to IntellectualRadio.com. I know that there's others out there. I want to hear from a female. You know, we just heard from a male, but I want to hear from a female that's over 40 that have not been married. And I want to hear from you, why haven't you been married? And what's holding you back? What's holding you back? Share it with us. Seriously, we need to hear that. And I know there's a female out there that fit that description. I'm not going to ask you a bunch of questions. You know, I just want you to share with us. And it doesn't mean that there's something wrong with you because you're not married. I want you to know that right away. I just want to know, why haven't you been married? And maybe you were close to being married and maybe you changed your mind. Can you give us a call? A female, over 40, you can be 50, 60. Let me give you those numbers very slow. 708-223-8953. We're waiting on your call because I believe that you can really enhance this conversation. I really believe you could, because many of us, male and females, have different perspectives, and your expectations are different from ours. We expect this, you expect that, and sometimes we clash. But I believe that many of us do want to feel special. And it's not that you don't feel special because you somebody's girlfriend or you somebody's woman, you know, and we cool with that. A lot of people get comfortable with that and just say, look, that's my man, that's my woman, that's all we need to say. But do you believe that there's a whole different level when we say I do to each other publicly with a witness there? You know, when we put our hands on the Bible, do you believe that we'll feel different when we hold each other at night and you say, good night, honey, and you know that I'm your husband, and I say, good night, honey, and I know that you my wife? Do you? Seriously. Do you believe that you feel different? I want to hear from you. You know, marriage is really, really an interesting thing. I wrote down a note, you know, about single people. And it was something I was thinking about earlier. It says, so as a single person, what happens when you meet someone who is past a certain age and hasn't yet been married? Do you assume automatically that must be for a reason? Or do you assume the worst, that the person is unmarriable? That was the word, unmarriable. That if he or she were a good partner, they'd be married by now. That's what I wrote. I was sitting in the office and I wrote that. But is that an indicator? What is it that we look for in just relationships, period? Let me take marriage away. I want to take marriage off the table because it seems as though, because of the divorce rate, it really has frightened many of us. or people, relationships, period. Folks go all on the internet now. They all on different websites and et cetera. They dating from the internet. I mean, we see people every day we meet, and folks would prefer meeting them over, the internet. But if you had a choice, would you want to meet them from, neighborhood you live in, from your church, your job, or you prefer just meeting them over the internet? I mean, there are people who have gotten married who met over the internet. They communicated with each other from one city to the next city. But I think honesty and being truthful, do you know if they're telling the truth? No, but after a while, you'll know if in fact everything they said was true. You'll know for the most part that this person said what they mean and they meant what they said. Whether it's over the internet or you meet them in the club or you meet them at the grocery store. But I mean, we got a long way to go, and I think this is a very serious topic. I mean, I joke and have fun just to make light of not so much of the divorce rate, but I do this because I think we all are uptight and we all have that fear. We all have that fear about being, enslaved. I think you might feel like you're going to be trapped if I say I do. Or do you feel like you're going to be splitting something? A lot of guys don't want to get married now because they feel like once they say they do, and if they decide they want to get out of it, you got to give up a lot of stuff. Well, it depends on what state you're in. I could laugh behind that, but it's just the truth. I know a lot of guys who have lived in California and didn't work out for them, but she got half. Is that your reason for not wanting to get married? You're afraid that if it don't work out, you're going to have to give up some. That's pretty petty, but you never know your reasons. I want to hear from you. I'm still waiting on a female. I know there's a female out there listening right now. You just being hard-headed or stubborn, or you just want to listen to Gregory saying run his mouth, but I want to hear from you. So did you write that number down? 708-223-8953. I want to hear from a female. And if a female don't call here, I used to threaten people on some of the other radio stations that I were on. I would tell them, I said, if I don't hear from a female, I'm not coming back. Seriously. Because I know you can hear my voice, and I know you hear me asking you to share with us why you are not married and you 40 and up. Just want to hear your perspective. We can learn from that. Well, brothers, you can call in because I think the brothers, they pouring out their heart, and the sisters, they just laying back, just listening. So the brothers, you got that phone number, you can call in. But I just want to know why you're not married. Now, I will say this. Since we're not married and we just going together and we're dating and courting, we could talk about what that is really about. What is courting? What is dating? And when you're dating, should you spend a lot of money? Should you go to a fancy restaurant on your first date? See, that's another topic. Should you go and spend a whole lot of money and it might not work out, and you might not even really kind of gel, or you might not connect with each other? Should you go and invest a lot of money at an expensive restaurant? I'm going to say no. No. N-O. No. On the first date, you should go to the Golden Corral. Boy, I'm going to get in trouble for that one. But no, you don't need to go to the Golden Corral, but we can sure enough meet at Starbucks and have a cup of coffee, some tea, or we can just meet there and talk. You might not feel comfortable because automatically you're judging me. I can feel you judging me right now saying, you just cheap. Why I gotta be cheap? We just going out to see if we are interested in each other further. If we want to have a second date. So why I need to take you to Wildfire? Why I need to take you to those expensive steakhouses? Why I need to take you to a restaurant, period? Why can't you cook? And you can invite some of your friends or your family over just in case you think, I'm up to anything. No. But since we are talking about marriage, let's just talk a little bit about courting and dating. Are you dating or are you courting? I think I'm courting right now. Yep, I'm not dating. Because dating to me means that you're going out with different people. If you're dating. Now you could say I'm dating this young lady right now and make that clear. Or I'm dating this guy right now or this young man. But when you're courting, you're only courting one person. Well, you should just be courting one person. But courting has way more weight than dating. Because dating is a game. You know what I mean? The dating game. That's why they named the place the dating game. But courting means that the verdict is still out. And you have an opportunity to really find and search for the truth. That's in courting. Dating, they don't really, end up going anyplace. I mean, at least for me, I don't know about you, but when I decided that I was going to court someone, it was a little different. I made my mistakes. Lord have mercy. I have. And I'm sure that other person is saying the same thing, that they made a mistake. Well, we both made a mistake. We both made a mistake. I know one damn thing. You made a big mistake by letting me get away. Oh my God, I know that is so crazy. But you made a big, big mistake because you judged me too soon. And that's how we all do. We make a lot of mistakes, men. We do. The fellas, we do. We make mistakes. And it's like that record. You fall, but you get back up again. 708-223-8948. We got a few more minutes on this show and this topic talking about marriage over 40, 50. How many of you all got married at 40? Anybody listening that got married at 40 and things are going great? You got married when you were 50 or older. Anybody out there that got married at 40 and over? Anyone? Call in. Want to hear your story. If you got married at 40, 45, 50, 60, or if you're that age and you don't think you're going to get married. Anybody out there have decided, guess what? I'm at this age, I'm set in my ways, and I'm not going to marry nobody. How many of you all know that you shouldn't be married? How many people already know that you trouble? And you turn down guys and just say, no, you don't want to marry me. Believe me. Now, go ahead and just, enjoy hanging out with me and spending time with me, but you don't want to marry me. You don't want to live in the same household with me because that's going to be a lot different because I like things the way I like things. What you mean by I like things the way I like things? I think I know what that means because I like things the way I like things. But how many of you all are 40 and 50 and you married and it's going good? Can you please share with us that you 40 and 50 and things are going good and you want to inspire and encourage those folks that are afraid, got that fear, that phobia? How many people have a phobia? You got that phobia, marriage phobia. You got marriage phobia? Do you have marriage phobia? You scared to be married? Honestly. You know? Are you scared to be married? I'm just asking a question. Are you afraid? Give us a call if you have phobia, marriage phobia, and you just feel like you so set in your ways that nobody's going to be able to deal with you because, you'll get divorced over a man leaving the toilet seat up. He just forgot that day, but you blow a gasket. How many of you all like that? Any Christians out there that's 40 and 50 and you should be married? Well, I'm not trying to make nobody feel guilty because I'm not married. And I ain't going to get into this whole thing about fornication. But how many folks out there that are 40 and 50 and you got your boyfriend on the side, you ain't told Reverend. You go and you listen to the sermons every Sunday, but you ain't a bit more thinking about getting married. How many of you all like that? I know you ain't gonna call in. You ain't got to give your name. Don't give your real name. But how many out there just enjoying just having a relationship and you just said, I'm not gonna never get married. I don't want to be married. That ain't for me. And I'm just enjoying the company. We get along just fine right now. How many people like that? How many folks say we get along just fine? Now, if we get married, that's going to change things. Some of you all feel like that. I'm going to have to cook. Or guys feel like they're going to have to cook or they're going to have to give more. How many it's like that? Ladies that are single, never been married, and over 40, that's hearing the sound of my voice. Why are you still single? Some probably saying, because it's by choice. But how many of you all have been in a relationship and did not want to take it to the next level? Or you just want to leave it like it is? It's going good. Anyone out there? 708-223-8953. Got 5 minutes to get your claim in, 5 minutes to get your fame in, 5 minutes to educate our audience. You got 5 minutes and time is ticking. And I know there's females out there listening that are afraid to call in to share their wisdom. We can learn from you. Why are you holding back, ladies? Ladies, why are you holding back? You don't hold back when it's time to go and watch Empire and Scandal, but you have an opportunity to have your own show right now and tell the world how you feel. You want to hear from Cookie. Well, all them shows, those cookies are crumbling right in your face. They're crumbling right in your face. But I think it's a good topic. And I think, we could talk about the data. We can talk about the statistics. We can talk about the research when it comes to marriage. And some of that can inspire people. And a lot of times it discourages folks. But I think, if you're blessed and highly favored and all of that, then you should be working on finding someone that you really, 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 really would say I do to. Because if you are with someone right now that you would not say I do to, that's not good. I mean, it really isn't. It really, really isn't, because there's a certain type of vibe there that she knows and that you guys don't really, really totally care for each other. But if you care for each other and you got that positive vibe, you would say I do. I know I would say it. I definitely would say it. And I hope that many of you all would find somebody somewhere to say I do. We got about 2 to 3 minutes. We're going to wrap it up. And before we wrap it up, I want to tell you guys who are just listening, because I know there are many of you all just listening and you love to be entertained. And, many people are like that. In all radio shows, there are a few people who like and they enjoy calling in, but many people, they just love listening, and I thank you for listening. And you're listening to IntellectualRadio.com and Monday Night Mingle. I'm sitting in for Miss Gina Lamar. My name is Gregory Sane. Stake your claim with Gregory Sane. And the next time I'm on this air right here, I'm definitely going to be talking about something that is a little more radical, because I know marriage is one of those, soft, touching, emotional, real delicate subjects. And many of you all are hurting out there. And many of you all are discouraged. And it's just based on what my producer pointed out to me. And that's the divorce rate. That's real. And I hope we can fix that. Because if we're going to fix what's wrong in our community, we got to become a family. We need to be married. We need to be a unit. We need to be more in charge of what's going on in our community. And that comes from husband and wife, not boyfriend and girlfriend. Thank you. Peace.
I'll be your number one Professor Honey. Just open up your heart and give it to me. I'll give you all the knowledge that you need. This is how you get it easy. Hey.